caught up. Not succeeding. I'll be back to try again tomorrow. Turn is fairly long. I have to make a decision. I'm gonna go for it. The other option is to go straight on a very slow road, and I'm not going to do that. So I think our conversation about panhandlers didn't quite get finished. Panhandlers have been known to walk in the street and get hit. Again, panhandlers being the precise term for those who ask for money, who are often unhoused or have other issues that send them to work on the streets for money donations from others. Sometimes they have permits from the city. Some cities prominently, such as Philadelphia, do not permit panhandlers and will cite them for blocking lanes of traffic. And their panhandlers have been interviewed who say, listen, I have tickets that total maybe $5,000 from the city that I'm not going to pay. There's an estimated, I want to say there's maybe up to 10,000 individuals that panhandle throughout Philadelphia. It's a known issue, covered in the press and so on. The reason they're cited for blocking the lanes is they go out in the street to collect the money from the car windows, and they're not supposed to be there, right? Now, is this some sort of classist oppression of the unhoused, or is this a true effort to promote public safety? And just seeing the claims where these folks have been hit by a truck that never even knew that they were there, I think there's a public safety element that needs to be factored. That's just undeniable. I've seen the bodies, you know, and not only that, it's tough on the people around the incident, the observers who are in the shops near the streets, the people who are sitting in traffic, the person who was going to give them money and see this horrific incident unfold, and it's not pleasant at all. And so, again, kind of going back to where we were about walking in streets that have no curb, using the bike lane as your walking lane. These are overtly dangerous acts. And if you don't have someone to tell you that, you've got me telling you that. Because it is dangerous. The best place you can be is on a raised sidewalk with a curb on it, on a street on which the vehicles are traveling at low speeds. Lower the better. That's your tip of the day. Now, what is worth discussing today? How about weather? Who thinks there is a connection between inclement weather and accidents? that would be everybody. They say not to do something I'm doing right now, which is use cruise control in the rain. I would like to dive into this issue more, but the truth is, I don't know the answer as to why cruise control is discouraged during rain. My guess is that you simply need to react quicker, and cruise control affects that. The other thought is that there may be a connection between cruise control and hydroplaning. Hydroplaning is a topic that I would love to know more about, to study, because it happens. And what interests me about it is that it seems to happen to people who are more inexperienced drivers. What is it about those of us who've driven 10 or more years that this doesn't happen to us? What are we doing differently? Why does it always happen to teenagers? I don't understand that. Is it because teenagers drive cars with, perhaps poor tread and bad safety records, lightweight? Or is it because something about the teenage driver and the young driver, new driver, causes these incidents? But I do believe there's a link between hydroplaning and age, and something I've seen, I can't deny, and I can say I've probably never hydroplaned in my life. Why? I don't know. Is it because I didn't use the cruise control? My first car had a broken chain and cruise control didn't work? I don't know. There's no answer there, but it's a topic that I intend to learn more about. I also know that tire tread is big. There's a scale, so many 32nds of an inch of tread. Once you get below a certain number, you should not drive in the snow. Once your tires fall beyond that amount, they should not be driven in rain. So once, if you're really trying to milk your tires, you want them to run out of tread in the spring so that you can keep driving them in the summer through the rainstorms. But once they've worn down past that point, they're not safe to be driven in any sort of weather conditions. So if you have a car you really don't want to replace the tires on, don't drive it during the rain, and drive your other cars or something, or just stay home when it's raining, and you can get a little more life out of those tires. Not that I recommend gambling with tires. In fact, people who call me a cheapskate knew this. I actually got angry at my car dealer for not checking and recommending replacement tires. They do this inspection all over. This is the car my family drives, not me. I care more about their situation than mine. And so I take it in the fall, and they don't mention the tire. I do whatever they say, pretty much. I fix whatever they say to fix, replace whatever they say to replace. They didn't say anything about the tires. Winter comes, and guess what? The tires aren't up to snuff. And it's a problem, right? So now we're in this situation when I should not have been in that situation. So I take the car back in and say, what's the deal with these tires? My wife had an incident on the highway. He's losing control. Why didn't you say anything? And that's a real... They sell tires. There's no excuse. You're a car dealer. It's your whole thing is to make money off of people's cars. car dealer's not doing it, it's your mechanic doing it. You can't always rely on these outsourced professionals to do everything for you, because they're just not there for you sometimes. They're asleep at the wheel. So track your tires, measure your tires, get a measuring tool and check them yourself. Also tire wear. This is big in commercial circles as well, because if you buy 18 tires for your truck and trailer, by gosh, you want those, come on, you want those to be well cared for and get good life out of them. And so you have wear and wearing down of the treads, but you also want even wear of the treads. And if you're not having even wear of your treads, something's very wrong with your car in terms of alignments, balance. Also, fuel efficiency is implicated, especially in commercial circles. If you are wasting fuel in any capacity, you've got to be looking. That's why they put those wind guards over the top of the truck tractors to divert the wind over the trailer. Otherwise, you're just dragging the trailer, the square body, through the wind, which is not fuel efficient. So you put those, you can see them on several of these across the median here. They all have them. They all have them because the science is clear that the fuel efficiency is so much more improved. Now, some of them it's part of the sleeping cabin, but many of them it's not. It's a separate piece that's added to the day cab in order to assist in fuel economy, because it's undisputed science, undisputed bottom line effects for the dry van haulers. Haul flatbed maybe doesn't help that much, because you don't have the same drag. It might actually hurt, perhaps, because it's just more drag that you don't need if your cargo isn't going up that high. So Peterbilt, I think it was, just drove by there, didn't have one. It's for dry van trailers. So we're going to a different destination today. So we will skip the 470 south. They're all circuses in the rain anyways. You can expect to add on a few minutes in the rain in this community. I'm going 61 and a 65. Nobody else is going much faster. Today's high is 41, and it's exactly 41. I'm impressed. So up here on this truck is a side underride guard. The idea is to stop the passenger car from being caught by the trailer and sort of divert it away. Cars will get caught and hooked and dragged by semi-trucks, by the trailer specifically. And it is not ideal, but is it ideal to push it away and let it spin off into the concrete wall, Jersey wall here? I mean, ask your government, because I don't have any answers. I'm tired of trying to make sense of things that don't make sense. You can pretend. People use the science as a guide. It's used, it's doctored, it's altered. The agenda is set. The only thing that's not set is the process. And the process has to give a comment period. It has to give various various hashing outs of various things. The game is set. You know, when your administration wants to regulate something, they know you're going to sue them. They don't care. The agenda is set. The boss says do this. They're going to do this. And to get it undone, the best thing you've got is the time, right? And it almost helps them a little bit too, because they can say, we're going to do this. And you can say, no, please don't. And they say, well, we're going to do it in 2 or 3 years. And you say, well, whatever. Then you forget about it. You're not mad anymore. Maybe you write a comment to the Federal Register and complain, but they know what they're doing. They're playing the long game. They know that they will outlast you at the end of the day, because they have power, money, the ability to set an agenda and a massive machinery of personnel to implement it. So maybe we're shutting down jobs, maybe we're shutting down businesses. I've seen it written in papers that they were going to shut down an estimated, 15,000 businesses or something. 15,000 people, and all of their employees are just being destroyed by a given regulation. And they do it. They don't care. That's part of the process. At least they have to count the number of bodies on their body count before they click enforce. And I find this to be a little disturbing. And it's all done in the name of government. It's all done in the name of the agenda. The agenda is this. We've decided how we're going to try to accomplish this. But what's fascinating is that they have just enough time to implement the rule, but no time to be held accountable for it. So the rule gets passed, the administration changes, and nobody really cares after that. The machine gobbled it all up and just kept going, looking for more. Let's go sniff around somewhere else and look for things to do. And so you end up with rules that cannot be undone, that you're stuck with, and that don't work, and that don't do anything. They started with good intentions. They ended with bad results, bad ideas, and there's no way to dismantle it. It's a problem. It's a problem. Electronic logs were supposed to be the solution to driver fatigue, fatalities. Well, guess what? They're not. It costs so much money. They sent so many people out of business. They created an indirect tax on every truck owner in the country, and they didn't meet the stated goal. They just didn't. There's no disputing it. There's the rule. There were people who fought the rule at every opportunity that they had. Even though it was a losing fight, history will look wisely on those people. Fortunately, empirics do us no favors. You can have all the empirical statistics that you want, but how do you persuade somebody after they've set the agenda? The agenda's been set. This ramp is dangerous. They changed the slope here. I've seen semis overturned on this more than once. They say slow down to 25. They're not joking. If you're heavy, you need to slow down right here. I'm glad that car in front of me did, even though I wasn't going to. In the wet, I have great tires, but right thing to do. Oh boy, that's a mess. A little bit of a mess. See those hazards. They offer what they offer, but ideally, especially if you can't pull off a shoulder. Let's say you're going on a road trip on a 2-lane highway or something. Let's say there's a ditch next to the highway. What do? You want to have a flare. You want to have something like that to keep your car from getting demolished. Now the great debate is, maybe it's not a debate, but should you get back in your car and belt yourself? Get back. There's a case to be made that if you're stranded on a highway, the safest place to be is in your car. You hear it frequently. I would add to that, be in your car, belted, facing forward. If you're not facing forward, if you're not belted, you're in trouble, potentially. You're hit. But you're also a sitting duck if you're hit. You're asking for it, right? What if you're there for 2 hours? Should you sit there blocking the roadway for 2 hours? Hope the cars see you go around it. Next, should you get out of your car and just move a safe distance away, maybe to the woods? I think it's an idea. It makes sense. But imagine the semi-truck's coming, sees your car, decides to swerve right. They go off in the woods and maybe they hit you. You think you can move out of the way of a semi that's going? Let's say the semi decides to pull off and is headed towards the woods and sees you. He tries to go to the right of you, but you move to your right as well, and you've moved back into the path, and you've got seconds to decide what to do. It does seem that when you're unprotected like that, you're cooked. You're tenderized meat. So the question is, are you safer inside your car than outside your car? Honestly, I think that I've seen people die in both situations, so I don't know that there's a great answer. I probably have seen more people die outside of their car than inside of their car. I've seen some really rotten things. I've seen people try to grab their children and get out, and the adult gets hit and the child goes flying, and the adult dies but the child lived. And so maybe by getting the child out of the car, the child lived because of that. Maybe if the child had been in the car, the child would have died. I don't know. Nobody can know these answers, but these are real families. And, if there's a right answer, by gosh, we want to do everything we can to help prevent things and things like that. We're all on the same page there. The problem is people just set the agenda, and that's the agenda. Freaking government, man. This speed is unacceptable. The visibility is not commensurate with this speed. We want to go around, but alright. There's no reason to go 50. So we need a little more wiper. Certainly no cruise control here. Sometimes the visibility is just the water coming off the big truck, right? You get past them and it clears up. Not an example of that. car is demolished from the rear crash that's been stranded, we have ways to forensically investigate whether that vehicle had its flashers on or not. People will often say they were on, but if the person inside the car is dead, the question is, were the flashers on? The car is in smithereens. We have an expert test the filaments inside the destroyed taillights for heat shock. So when the bulb is destroyed and it is illuminated, there will be microscopic evidence of the illumination from the electric signal that was going through the filament at the time of the crash. There is no evidence of that, and the conclusion is that the lights weren't on. And it's because of the heat in the filament, not necessarily the electric signal, because obviously flashers are off for brief moments in time. So if the exact second of the destruction the flasher was off, it doesn't mean that it gets a false reading. But that's how you know. The electronic data in your car is more than you could possibly imagine, especially in a newer car. Most cars have modules that we can download, such as the airbag control module, that will give you data on what your vehicle was doing at the time of a recorded event. Now, there may be no recorded events if the technology isn't recording anything, but with newer modules, you have it all. You have throttle information, you have braking information. Do not try to defraud somebody by staging an accident, because we can download all that data and we will use it against you in a court of law. If you show that you accelerated into a truck in order to get a payout, well, you don't have to show it. Your car will tell the truth. You gunned it into the back of the truck, or you only applied a tiny fraction of the braking force that you had. That kind of data is routinely used and processed, and you're not going to get away with it. Do not connect your cell phone to a rental car. Everything you do on your phone will be downloaded to that car, in addition to the phone numbers of all your friends and family. So if you don't want to give that to hackers and strangers, don't connect it to a rental car. Use headphones instead of the in-vehicle wireless system. Use a set of AirPods instead, and maybe even just one of them so you can have an ear free for the road. Always be listening to sounds around you. It's all there. Your cell phone data is no. If you're in an accident and you call 911 at 4 o'clock and you were using Facebook and you were the only person in the car, you were driving the car, we will know you were using Facebook if you at 3:59 or at 3:55. You won't get away with it. And you can delete everything you want on your phone. You can destroy the phone. And guess what? We're still going to get it. And we know the difference between an app being updated in the background and active use of an app. You're on the grid, friends. Deal with it. quite a while. It's almost refreshing because there's daylight. If there wasn't daylight, I'd be a grumpy goose. I have an appointment to meet this afternoon, and I'm more than early for, so I'm not in a rush. Stop, refuel, maybe get myself a snack. Then I'll get back on the road, but I will not be streaming anymore. I want to make sure I've got my directions correct for my next destination, so we will have to cut the fun short. And it is fun, you know. We've reached over 20,000 views across platforms in a week. That's pretty good. Whatever this is offering to people, you know, the follower count is growing. I'd like to see that. You can give subscriptions on YouTube. I don't have to download and record videos directly. It takes a lot of time. Cellular data is not very efficient, so if we can get at least 50 subscribers on YouTube, then I can just record as I drive and shut it off when I'm done. And we like efficiency. I like efficiency. Make it my life's mission in many senses to be efficient. I ask myself constantly how to improve efficiency of many things. And that's the way. I don't want to sell you anything. I don't want ad revenue. I just want to have some fun, drop some knowledge, and innovate. Truck over here. They're a good group. I'm going to run this light because I can get away with it. Don't tell the popo. Well, you all stay dry. Tires measured it well enough for the rain. Goodbye.